Thus, this particular composition in Telugu brings out the fact. There is one common saying that there is a category called as Pancha Ganga. There are 5 Gangas in our country. One is the original Ganga, which is called Bhagirathi. The other 4 are Kaveri, Tungabhadra, Krishna, Godavari. They all constitute the 5 Gangas. Pancha Ganga, Bhagirathi, Kaveri, Tungabhadra, Krishna and Godavari. Now Ram asked Godavari. Godavari did not reply. While he was coming, he found a dead bird. He thought it was dead. When he went close, he found that the bird was about to die and it was bleeding. It was a vulture, and that vulture was none other than Jatayu. Ram recognized Jatayu as his father's friend whom he had met at the start of Aaranya Kandam. He hugged Jatayu and said, Jatayu, what has happened to you? On one hand, I have lost my dear wife Sita. I do not know what has happened to her. And on the other hand, I have lost my father's dear friend. What has happened to you and why are you bleeding? Jatayu told Ram, Sita mabhyayashapannoham Ravanastarane Prabho Vidvamsitarayaschannaha Patito Dharani Tale. Sita was abducted by a particular Rakshasa called as Ravana. Hey Ram, when he abducted Sita and was carrying her in his divine vehicle called as Pushpaka Vimanam, and she started crying, I heard that cry and I wanted to rescue her and bring out of the clutches of Ravana. I fought with him, but that demon Ravana, he took the Chandrahasam, the sword which was given to him by Lord Shiva, and he chopped off my wings and I had to fall down. I am very sorry, Ram, that I could not protect your dear wife Sita. After saying this, Jatayu passed away. Putro Vishravasa Sakshat Bhrata Vaishravanasya cha Ityuktva Durlabhan Pranan Mumocha Patageshwaraha. Jatayu passed. At that point of time, Ram said, Hey Jatayu, you have committed such a great thing in your life that you do not deserve this particular lokam. I now declare that you will never have rebirth. You may go to Moksha Mandalam. And he gave moksham to Jatayu. Abiral Bhagati Magi Bargidh Jaua Haridham. He sent him to Haridham, to Sri Vaikuntham. Tehi ki kriya dayochit nij kar ki Ram. Ram gave moksham to Jatayu, says Goswami Tulasidas in Ramacharita-manas. The same concept, one great mystic saint called as Kulashekara Alvar says in a beautiful verse in Tamil, Tanmaruvu vaidehi piriyallutru talarveidi shadayuvai vaikundathetri vanamaruvu kaviyarashan kadal koldu வாலியை கொன்று இலங்கை நகர் அரக்கர் கோமான் சினம் அடங்க மாருதியால் சுடுவித்தானை தில்லை நகர் திருச்சித்திர கூடந்தன்னுள் இனி தமர்ந்த அம்மானை இராமன் தன்னை ஏத்துவார் இணையடியே ஏத்தினேனே தளர்வெய்தி ஷடாயுவை வைகுந்தத்தேத்தி. Jatayu, he was sent to Vaikuntham. So Bhagavan, as Ram did this, Valmiki on this particular moksham, where only Bhagavan, neither can Lord Shiva, neither can Lord Brahma, neither can Indra nor any Devi or Devatas grant this particular great boon of moksham. We are all people who are born again and again. That is why it is called as Janmam, Jani. Jani means a cycle of births and deaths. We are born. After we are born, we are educated. After we are educated, we get married, we have children, grandchildren, and then we die. Again, the same soul enters a different body. We are again born, we are educated, we are married, we have children and grandchildren. So the cycle keeps happening again and again. Whereas if you want to get out of that circle, if you're fed up with this birth and death and you want to always be at the service of Bhagavan in a different lokam, that is Sri Vaikuntham, you will have to offer Sharanagati. That is the basic concept of Srimad Ramayanam. And only Bhagavan Srimad Narayan can grant moksham. So Valmiki talks about this great quality of offering moksham by Bhagavan. He says, Yagatir Yajnashilanam Ahita Yajnescha Yagatihi. अपरावर्तिनां याचया च भूमिप्रदायिनां मया त्वं समुनज्ञातो गच्छ लोकान् अनुत्तमान् गृध्रराज महायत्व संस्कृतश्च मया व्रज. So this Gridhra this particular vulture king, reached a particular place where even rishis have been trying for yugas together. Swami Deshika confirms that Ram offered funeral rites for the dead body of Jatayu. Where is Bhagavan and where is Jatayu? Bhagavan was the only most important son of King Dasharatha. He was supposed to become the king of Ayodhya. He had come to the forest. Whereas this vulture king was not a king, he's called the vulture king. But it doesn't mean he was the king of a particular dynasty, neither he was educated by Vasishta, he did not go to any university. But Bhagavan is doing the funeral rites of Gridhra Raja. Why? Because Bhagavan always thought that for a particular person's criterion to decide whether he is educated or not, good or bad, it is not his qualification, but it is his behavior which makes him good. Jatayu had not studied anything. He did not know anything about Vedam or Upanishads, but he had the good attitude of saving Sita. Whereas Ravana on the other hand had studied all the Vedas and Upanishads, but his attitude was to abduct somebody else's wife. So whom should Bhagavan respect? So Swami Vedanta Deshika in one of his compositions called as Paramartha Stuti confirms that Ram gave moksham to Jatayu and at the same time he performed the funeral rites for the dead body of Jatayu. अवधीर्य चतुर्विधं पुमर्थं भवदर्थे विनियुक्त जीवितः सन् लभते भवतः फलानि जन्तुः निखिलान्यत्र निदर्शनं जटायुः. Whereas Ramanujacharya's direct disciple was Kuresha. He says that Jatayu was given moksham, but he's questioning Bhagavan. You gave moksham to Jatayu. Did Jatayu go to any ashramam and do any kind of education? Did Jatayu learn any Vedas? Did Jatayu learn any kind of Upanishads? Did Jatayu perform the Trikala Sandhya Vandanam? Did Jatayu teach 10 other students? Did Jatayu do the Upaya, Upeya, Purushakara, Prapatti? Did it offer Sharanagati? It did nothing. But why did you grant moksham to it? Hey Bhagavan, whatever you are doing, we are not able to understand the logic behind it. You are such a great person. अक्षुण्य योगपथम अग्रह्यतं जटायुं तिर्यश्चमेव बत मोक्षपथे नियोक्तम् शक्नोऽपि वेत्सि च सदा सतदा कथं त्वं देवीम् अवाप्तु अनलं व्यतिथो विचिन्वत. The same point that Bhagavan granted moksham to Jatayu is very beautifully conveyed by Tyagaraja once in a year at the place where Tyagaraja stayed. It is a place in Tamil Nadu, it is called Thiruvayyaru. In that particular place, there is still a Tyagaraja Aradhana which is performed. To this great saint composer Tyagaraja, there is an Aradhana which is performed which culminates in a particular function where they sing the 5 important kritis called as Ghanapanchakaraga kritis, Pancharatna kritis. These Pancharatna kritis are sung and one important kriti, the 4th kriti, is set to the ragam Varali. There, this poet talks about Ram giving moksham to Jatayu. Kana kana ruchiraya kana kava sana nino kana kana ruchiraya kana kava sana nino kana kana ruchiraya dina dina mono mana dina dina mono mana dina dina mono mana suna chanu una ninno dina dina mono mana suna chanu ಮೃಗಮದಲಲಾಮಶುಭನೀತಲವರ ಜಟಾಯು ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಫಲದ ಪವಮಾನ ಸೂತುಡು ನೀಡು ಮಹಿಮದೆಲ್ಪ ಸೀತ ತಿಳಿಸಿ ವಲಚಿಸೋ ಕಲೇದ ಆ ರೀತಿ ನೀನು ಕನಕನ ರುಚಿ ವರಜಟಾಯು ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಫಲದ ಪವಮಾನ ವರಜಟಾಯು ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಫಲ. Jatayu received a boon. That boon was moksham, complete salvation and complete liberation from this cycle of births and deaths. Now, when Bhagavan gave moksham to Jatayu, he knew very well that Ravana had abducted Sita. But in those days they never had fluorescent direction boards. These days we have got so many kilometers to this place. Every kilometer it will keep on reducing by 1 kilometer and 1 kilometer, and we'll find some board or the other which says that this particular road takes you to this particular place. Both Ram and Lakshmana were in the dense forest. There were no such boards. They knew that Ravana had abducted Sita, but where is Ravana? Which side is the southern direction, which side is north, and how could they proceed? They did not know whom to meet, whose help to take. When they were thinking and contemplating on what to do, suddenly two long hands reached both Ram and Lakshmana and it carried both of them. When Ram and Lakshmana were surprised as to who was doing this particular act, they went close to the person who was doing it. Was a particular demon called as Kabandha. This Kabandha was actually a god. He was a demigod, he was a deva. But once what happened, he disguised himself in the form of an ugly person and went before a rishi. The rishi's name was Thula Shiras. Once Kabandha disguised himself as an ugly person and went and scared this rishi in return gave a curse. He said that you will be born as a particular demon who will be the most ugliest in this world. So this deva was born, this demigod was born as Kabandha. This Kabandha had long hands. He used to sit in one place, and if he wanted to eat any of those animals or human beings who walked by in those forests, he would extend his hands to such a distance that it would go to around 8 or 10 miles, and it brought Ram and Lakshmana as his prey. When they were brought, Ram and Lakshmana were surprised to find Kabandha having all irregular features. He had one eye, and that one eye was in his stomach. The place where there was to be mouth, it had hair. The place where it was supposed to be hair, it had head. So they were all very confusing, and he was in a very abnormal and an ugly shape. What Kabandha did was, he captured both of them with his hands. And he wanted to consume them, wherein Ram and Lakshmana chopped both his hands. They killed him. When they dug a huge pit and put Kabandha inside it and allowed it to burn, a particular soul, an effulgent soul came out of the dead body, and it thanked Bhagavan and said, "Hey Bhagavan, I know very well that you are not an ordinary human being. You are the supreme personality of Godhead. You are Bhagavan Srimad Narayan. மூலமே இல்லா முதல்வனே நீ முயலும் கோலமோ யாருக்கும் தெரிவு அறிய கொள்கை தாளாலமோ ஆலின் நடையோ அடை கிடந்த பாலனோ வேலை பிரபோ பகராயே." Hey Bhagavan, I know very well you are the little blue child who sleeps on a beautiful banyan leaf at the end of this world. You are Sriman Narayan. I can recognize this. Kabandha said this, and he also said, "Hey Bhagavan, a few kilometers from here there is one Vanara king. His name is Sugriva. Go and approach him. He will surely help you along with all the monkey army which he has. Though he has an army of monkeys, don't underestimate them, Bhagavan. All those monkeys are very duty conscious and very powerful. You may seek his help, and he will surely help you in restoring and rescuing Sita back." कर्तुमिक्ष्वाकुशार्दूल कालो हि दुरतिक्रमः गच्छ शीघ्रमितो वीर सुग्रीवं तं महाबलम्. While Kabandha said this and went to the heaven, Ram and Lakshmana walked along the forest. They were in search of Sugriva and the other monkeys. At the same time, Ram had a very bad feeling. He felt that he had not done the right part to leave away his wife. He felt that he was not duty conscious and he was the one who should have protected Sita. ஆண்டு அவன் அன்பின் எய்தி அழுது இழி அருவி கண்கள் மாண்டது என் மாய பாசம் வந்தது வரம்பு இல் காலம் பூண்ட மாதவத்தின் செல்வம் பொய்த்து பிறவி என்பாள் வேண்டிய கொணர்ந்து நல் விருந்து செய்து இருந்த வேலை. While Ram was lamenting about the sad situation that had come to him and Sita, Lakshmana consoled him and said, "Hey Bhagavan, don't you know? It is a cycle. Now we are at the bottom of the cycle wherein we are experiencing all sorrows. I am very sure, Bhagavan, that this cycle will go up. This wheel will go up and you will be united with Sita once again. Please don't lose the confidence. We will somehow rescue Sita, Bhagavan. Please don't lose the confidence." Lakshmana gave that energetic talk to Ram. Now, while they were reaching a particular place, they were able to find the sanidhyam in that place, sanctity in that place. It was a beautiful hermitage of Shabari. तेषां गतानामध्यापि दृश्यते परिचारिणी श्रमणी शबरी नाम काकुत्स्थ चिरजीविनी त्वां तु धर्मे स्थिता नित्यं सर्वभूतनमस्कृतं दृष्ट्वा देवोपमं रामं स्वर्गलोकं गमिष्यति. Shabari had a mission in her life. Her only mission was to serve her guru Matanga Maharishi. Matanga Maharishi was a great rishi. He had acquired so much of power using his penances. But at the end of it, when he was about to reach heaven, he told Shabari, "Hey Shabari, in a few more days, Bhagavan, who has incarnated as Ram, along with his brother Lakshmana will be coming to our ashram. I will not be there. On behalf of me, it is your duty to welcome him with fruits and flowers, so you stay back." So Shabari's only mission was to stay back, obeying the words and the command of her guru Matanga Maharishi. When Ram entered the ashramam, Shabari was surprised. She was excited. She fell at the feet of Ram. Actually, Tulsi Das brings it in a beautiful form. She fell again and again at the feet of Ram, because that is the lakshanam of a Sri Vaishnava. You have to fall at the feet of great people, especially Acharyas and Bhagavan, again and again. At least you have to fall at their feet 4 times. Puni puni pad saroj sirnava. While Shabari's mission was this, when Ram entered the hermitage, Shabari told Ram, "I do not know, hey Bhagavan, what punyam I have done in my previous births that I am able to see the Supreme Person, the Parabrahmam, Sriman Narayan in the form of Ram in my ashram. Adhya prapta tapasiddhistava sandarshananmaya adhya me saphalam taptam swargaschaiva bhavishyati adhya me saphalam janma guruvascha supujitah tvayi deva vare rama pujite purusharshabha." Adhya me saphalam janma guruvascha supujitah. My guru Matanga Rishi has said, it is not my interest, Ram, but my guru has said that I have to stay back and do service to you, so I am staying back. When she said that so she's staying back, Ram was so impressed. She gave him fruits. Now comes the controversy. If we see all the pictures of Ramayanam and even some ashramams, we will find one picture where an old lady is giving fruits to Ram and Lakshman. What she does is she will take one fruit inside her mouth, bite, see whether the fruit is tasty or not. If it's not tasty, she'll throw it away, and if it's tasty, she'll give the remaining part of the fruit to Ram, and Ram will eat. This is not the way Valmiki has described. She did not bite and give, and Ram did not eat the remaining. What she used to do was, every day after her Guru Matanga Rishi had left to Swargalokam, she knew very well that Ram would be coming to her hermitage along with Lakshmana. So she would go to the forest, she would see the beautiful trees with beautiful and tasty fruits. So she would taste one fruit from the entire tree, and she would taste, if it was good, she used to pluck the other fruits from the same tree. Because to judge whether this tree gives very sweet fruits, if you taste one, it is enough. So she used to taste one fruit. If she found it tasty, she would collect the remaining fruits from the same tree and store it. On another day, she would take some children along with her. She would give one fruit out of the entire tree to one child and used to ask whether the fruit is tasty or not. If the child found the fruit tasty, she would pluck the remaining fruits from the same tree and store it in her place. She knew very well that Ram and Lakshman would be coming one day. So she used to dry all those grapes under the sun. And she used to make them dry grapes. We call them raisins today, kismis. So this kismis concept was there even in those days. So whatever picture we are seeing and wherever people say in their lectures that Shabari used to take a fruit, bite and give the rest of the remaining part to Ram is not the truth. She never gave. She was such a learned lady. A learned person will never eat one particular portion and give the rest of it to another person. Then that person can't be called learned. Shabari was such a great learned person by Matanga Maharishi, so she never had the habit of biting and giving the rest to Ram. And that too, Ram was an Achara Shilaha. To give an example of his Achara Shilam, that he was very orthodox, there is one example. What is the difference between Ram and Krishna? Ramavataram had taken place first during Treta Yugam, followed by Krishnavataram which had taken place during Dwapara Yugam. What is the difference between these two incarnations? Krishna had the habit of always moving with the girls of Gokulam. If somebody wanted to find where Krishna was, the composers and the commentators have said that Krishna could easily be found under the pallu, under the silk sari of a woman in Gokulam. So he used to touch all women, men, and he was very easily movable. He moved very easily with the people. Whereas it was contrary to Ram's attitude. What was Ram's attitude? Forget about other women. Even if Sita by mistake touched Ram in a particular date or a place where she should not touch Ram, he would go to the Sarayu river and bathe. So he was such an orthodox person. Such an orthodox Achara Shilaha Ram will never have the habit of consuming the remaining part of a fruit given by Shabari after having her tasted it. This will never happen. So Shabari did give fruits to Ram, but all those fruits were dry fruits. Eva mukta mahabhagaistadaham purusha rishabha maya tu sanchitam vanyam vividham purusha rishabha. Ram consumed those dry fruits. When Shabari gave those dry fruits, Ram consumed all of them without any hesitation. Whereas when Guha in Aaranya Kandam, he gave fruits to Ram, he did not accept. Why? Because Shabari gave those fruits not of her interest, because it was her Acharya's command to give fruits to Ram. That is why Ram accepted. Whereas Guha did something on his own. He never had an Acharya. That is why when he gave fruits, Ram did not accept. But the second day when Guha offered fruits, Ram accepted, because the first day Ram assumed that he will be the Acharya to Guha from now on. Then when Shabari gave the fruits to Ram, Ram consumed all of them and asked, where is Sugriva's territory? Shabari said, a few kilometers from here is a Rishyamukha Parvatam. In that particular mountain stays Sugriva. You may go and meet him. Now Shabari asked for the permission of Ram that she could also follow her Guru's path, that she could also go to Moksham. Because Guru's way of talking, Guru's commands, Guru's Sushrusha, service to Guru is very important to a Sishya. Saint Tyagaraja mentions how important a Guru is in one of his compositions in Telugu. Guru leka yetu panti guniki teliyaga podu. Guru leka yetu panti guniki teliyaga podu. Guru leka yetu panti. करुकैन हृद्रोगग करुकैन हृद्रोगगहनमुनु कोटनु करुकैन हृद्रोगगहनमुनु कोटनु सद्गुरुलेकयटुवंटि तनुवु सुतधनधारदायादि बांधवुलु जनियिंचि चेदरु जालिनी करुणतो मनसुनल्तकसेयु मल्दनुचितत्वबोधन जेसिका पाडु त्यागराजा तुडगु गुरुलेकयटुपंटि गुनिके తెలియగపోదు గురులేకయటుపంటి. All my dear human beings, there is nothing possible in this world without a proper guru who directs you to the path of knowledge. Please enlighten your minds with the presence of a proper guru, a proper acharya, says Saint Tyagaraja. After she had obeyed her commands of her guru, and after having executed the commands of her guru Matanga Maharishi, Shabari now asked for the permission of Ram to go to Moksham, and Rama directed her to Moksham. Tamuvacha tato Ramaha Shabarim samshativrataam architoham tvaya badre gacchakamam yatha sukham. To bring a gist of whatever has happened till now, Swami Vedanta Deshika says, Vikramayasholabha vikrita jivita gridharaja deha didhaksha lakshita bhakta janadakshinya avandhya mahima munijana bhajana mushita hridaya kalusha shabari moksha sakshi bhuta. Thus, in Aranya Kandam we saw that Ram, Lakshman and Sita were living very happily. But when the trio were living very happily, Shurpanakha intervened. She intervened in such a way that finally she lost her nose and both her ears. The insulted Shurpanakha went and complained to her brothers Khara and Dushana, who came to fight with Ram. Ram fought with all of them and left only one person called as Akampana. Akampana went and complained to Ravana. Besides, even Shurpanakha went and praised about Sita to Ravana. Ravana wanted to abduct Sita and make her his wife. And we also saw how Maricha came in the form of golden deer and even tried to mesmerize Sita. So how Ram ran behind that particular deer and how that particular deer was killed, and how Sita spoke the harsh words against Lakshmana. Lakshmana had no other option to go and search Ram. Meanwhile, Ravana came in the disguise of a sannyasi and abducted Sita. Finally, after hearing the cries of Sita, how Jatayu came and tried protecting Sita but finally failed. Ultimately Jatayu failed and he was killed. That is, his wings were chopped off, and Jatayu conveyed the final message to Ram that Ravana had abducted Sita. And with that we also saw how Jatayu Moksham had taken place, and finally how Shabari Moksham had taken place. This is the essence of Aranya Kandam. इत्यार्षे श्रीमद् रामायणे वाल्मीकिये आदिकाव्ये आरण्यकाण्डं समाप्तम्.